Hi, folks. I decided for Halloween I would do a scary section. For whatever reason, people seem to have trouble with domain and range of functions. Uh, in IXL, the Q.2 is domain and range of relations. And there is a difference between a relation and a function, which is scary in and of itself. But anyway, hopefully I'll be able to see well enough, and I will do a domain and range of functions for you. So here we go. Domain and range of relations, excuse me. So let's see what it says. What is the domain of this relation? So basically, they want me to list all of the x values that are included in this graph that you see. So I've got a -3 that you can see, and I've also got two -1s, which would be a problem for a function, but for a relation, it's not a problem. So it looks like I've got -3, -3, and -1 for my domain. I had to put the commas in as well. What is the range of this relation? So it's going to be the -19, the 3, and the 18. The range is the set of all the y values. So we're looking at the -19. This is kind of challenging. The 3 and the 18. Let's see if they're right. Looks good. Hopefully this one won't be too long. Let's see. We want write the numbers in the range with commas between them. So we want the range of this relation. The reason they keep calling it a relation is because to be a function, those two values that go with the -2, we've got a -5, but we also have a +5. So we have a -5, a 5, because we're looking for the range. We have a 2, and it looks like that's it. 2, 5, and -5. It's all the y values that you see. Okay, we want the domain of this relation. And again, it's a relation. It's not a function because there are two y values that go with that -5. So -5 and 0. It's really easy to make a mistake on these, so you have to be kind of careful. I only want the x values. We can see the x-axis here. Let me write on it a little bit here. Here's my x-axis right there. And we can see that we have a 0. It's right there. And we have -5. Now we have two values that come from -5, which makes this a relation and not a function. Move this off. What is the range of this relation? Now that's only going to be the y values, which is 0 and -20. We've got 0, comma, -20. Normally I would go ahead and write them in order, but it doesn't matter. And in this one, we want the range of the relation. Looks like it's a pretty long one. We've got all of the y values. Now the question is this a function? And by the way, it looks like it is. There are no x's that have two different y values with them. So this is a function, by the way. But we want the range. So we're looking at 0, all the y values, comma, 4, comma, -17. I'm going to list them in order so I don't miss any. 7, 14, and 9. Double check my list here. 0, 4, -17, 7, 14, 9. Yep, looks good. Another one? Okay. This one is also a function. Even though I have two y values that are the same, that's okay. In fact, if all your y values are the same, you still have a function. It's called a constant function. So anyway, here we go. We've got a 4. Actually, we've got two of them. A 5, a 14, a negative 13, and a 17. So hopefully that works for you. That looks like a range. I'm just going to double check my list for, make sure I put my commas in there. I did. That looks good. And what is the domain? So we're looking at the domain this time. Now this one is definitely not a function. Notice that for -3, we have no idea what's going to come out of that function, or that relation rather. If I put -3 for x, which is an x value, there are 4 different y values that could come out, and I have to have predictability. That's one of the things about functions, that they have to be predictable. And that looks like that's it for the domain. Yeah. And we're almost to the proficient level. I think I'm only going to go to proficiency for this one. It's getting a little bit stuffy in here. Let's see, what is the range of this relation? Let's see if it's a function before we start. And it is a function. There are no x's that go to 2 different y values. So we want the range, which is all of our y values. We got a 13 and a 0 and a 16 and a negative 15 and a 3 and a 2. And I'm just going to check it. 13, 0, 16, negative 15, 3, 2. Looks good. Maybe one more and I'll be at the proficient level. What is the domain of this relation? This one is actually, looks like it might be a function. But we could remember that even if we call it a relation, it could be a function or not. But a function is still a relation. 15, looks like we're looking for the domain. So we're looking for all the x values, 15, 16, 8, 10, and 12. Looks good, that's the domain. Oh, one more. Okay, this will be my last one. So for me anyway, I'm hoping you guys will go to mastery and it won't be scary anymore. Not too scary anyway. Okay, so we got a range, and what have we got? We want the range of this relation. Now this is not a function, and the reason it's not a function is because we have no idea. If we put a 3 into this relation, we have no idea what we're going to get. We might get a 3, a -1, or a -2. But we want the range. So we're talking about all the y values. And -4 is my first one. I'm going to list them. I'm actually going to list them in order from bottom to top. I've got -2. I've actually got 2 of those. I've got a -1. And I've got a 3. And those are all the y values that are on my graph. And that's far enough for today. I hope you guys will go to mastery and try it yourself. Good luck. Bye, guys. See you back here again.